How did it work, this process of radicalisation? Because I'm sure that it works with lots of things, not just the far right, but also, you know, Islamic fundamentalism. How do you go from a normal young lad who's 15, 16 to entering this organisation to then parroting Nick Griffin to then saying awful things? How does that process work?
So I've just written a book, Monster of Their Own Making, and it's kind of like an autobiography, sort of, but it's interlaced with you know, analysis and ideas. And the argument I make in the book is that I think there's two kinds of people that join these organizations. There's principled fanatics and joiners. And a joiner is someone who's devoid of any sort of ideology. It's someone who's kind of an outcast, they're vulnerable, they don't have much going in their life, and they're looking for a community. And I think that works for lots of other groups. I'd say a lot of SJWs are joiners. But then a principled fanatic is somebody, I would say I'm probably a principled fanatic, because there was an element of being a joiner. You know, I was an outcast, I'm a bit weird and a bit of a nerd. But I joined because I saw real world problems, you know. I always say extremism isn't created in a void. You don't just become something out of nothing. And when you're a principled fanatic, it's because you have principles, you see a real problem, you see grooming gangs, or you see that immigration is too high and nobody wants to talk about that because it's racist. And so you join pretty much anyone who's willing to talk about it. And I did. And yeah, within a few years, you end up just sort of, it snowballs, I suppose. But there's another argument I make, which is the three-pronged attack. And that is, I think it's a process. So it starts with negligent politicians. You know, the politicians, it's inconvenient for them to talk about certain issues. They might get dogpiled if they do talk about it. So immigration, multiculturalism, leaving the EU even. They don't talk about these issues because it's difficult, but those issues are very real for some groups of people, white working class people in particular. And so then you look to the media and you think, well, the media should be that check on the politicians, right? The media should be the ones standing up to the politicians, but actually the media are the ones calling the working class people racist. And so then you go out on the street, and when you go out on the street and you're shouting from the rooftops, it's like, please do something about these problems we care about, and then the far left activists brick your window or something, or smash you over the head with a bike lock. And so it's backing people into a corner. And no matter whether you agree with the concerns or the ideas that some sections of the white working class community might have, no matter whether you agree with them or not, politicians should represent those people, or at least talk about those issues. And because they're not, this three-pronged attack, this process, is backing people into a corner and leaving them with nowhere to go. And most people just shut up and put their head down and accept, oh, this is life now, you know, political correctness gone mad, and they, you know, they have conversations in the kitchen at parties, you know, under hushed tones about, you know, it's crazy, isn't it? But then a lot of people don't want to live like that. They don't want to live in secrecy, and so they get really angry about it. And most of those lads end up joining the far right because there's no one else talking about it.